Hello, the National Indian Council on Aging presents the Impromptu Interview. I am your host for this today and the writer. My name is Abigail Pestalozzi Conley, but to make things easier, you can call me Abby. Today's casual Friday at my office, so that's why I'm not dressed to the nines. But I'm hoping to give you some information today on something that I've created, and I think other people have kind of done it. I've just given it a name. So let's go ahead and, because I don't like things to last too long, get started. So let's give you a little bit of background about who I am. I was a teacher for 11 and a half years. I taught high school English, speech and debate, history for a short time, econ, government, things of that nature. I mean, if you're a teacher, you can basically teach anything. I am no longer in the field. However, I still do training and teaching. I am a job developer for the Senior Community Service Employment Program. And my days are spent trying to help people over the age of 55 try to find employment. And this is one of the tools that I use. And this came about from frustration. When I was teaching my students, and I taught mostly seniors, so 18 and above, and my students were out there in, you know, the area trying to find a job. Well, with them, the difficulty was they didn't have any experience. And a lot of companies actually want experience now. So they found that very frustrating. So I started teaching them the concepts behind the impromptu interview. And what's weird is now that I teach people that are 55 and older and I try to help them find employment, that they basically have frustration as well, even though it's kind of on the opposite side. They have a whole lifetime of experience, but yet because people have it in their head that if you're older, you can't work, they're not able to get the jobs that they want. So, in my helping of my students to go out there and find ways to gain employment, not the old fashioned way, I found that this actually helps for my older workers as well, because this is something that they kind of are a little bit better at, and that's the communication aspect of being out there and into the community and into local businesses and being able to kind of advocate and sell yourself in order to get the job that you want. So this is taking that concept and breaking it down and doing it slide by slide. I've even taught workshops on this and classes. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, the purpose of the impromptu interview, very, very easily, is to make a good impression on possible employers, those potential employers that you may run into anywhere. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, don't we have the elevator speech? Well, the elevator speech is basically just trying to sell yourself in a ride up and down, an elevator of 4 or 5 floors. You can't really get everything across that you need to in about 30 seconds to 5 minutes. I've heard it go all the way up to that. Also, it's a little weird. If you're in a non interview situation, to sit there and tell everyone how great you are is kind of odd and a little bit of a turnoff. At least that's what I was finding from some of my students, because I actually had them create the elevator speeches and try them. And what we discovered was that people thought it was weird and they didn't want to actually be pitched to, as they were walking somewhere, even while they were standing somewhere. So I talked to my daughter who runs a store at the Mall of America. And I asked her, like, how do you get people in here? How do you hire people? And she said that she loves to hire those people who come in and seem excited to be there. So I took this concept and I kind of made it into a teachable moment of how do I take that excitement and make it so the normal person can go into a business and walk out with a job, because that's the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal of the impromptu interview is basically to get a job. It's to get employment. I mean, we all want to work because money is awesome. So, okay, what it is. It is the impromptu interview is a job getting model that gives employment seekers the tools needed to find a job. Now, I know that we all go online and we fill out applications and we hope that someone will call us. I get it. I've been there. I have talked to these companies. As a job developer, I have to talk to employers all the time. I just spoke with somebody from Walmart not long ago, and one of the things that he was telling me was that they come in first thing in the morning around 5 or 6 a.m. and they open up the computer to the people who have put the applications in online. And I said, well, how do you pick? How do you go through them? And he goes, we start at the top. And I said, well, what's at the top? And he goes, the top is the last people who put their application in. So as weird as it sounds, a lot of people that get those jobs are getting them because they put their job application in at midnight. So that was something I'd never heard of before. And I thought, well, that's great for Walmart, but what about other places? My husband is a computer tech and he's a manager of a small company. Some of the people that they've hired are people that have, without provocation, brought in their resume and been like, hey, are you hiring? And then they call back or they come back in to check. And those are the ones that when an opening comes up, they're the ones that are hired. So I'm like, how can I put these two together? So it's basically giving you the tools that you need to get a job in a more unconventional kind of way. But in the easiest terms, it is to give you the tools that you need to be able and prepared to advocate for yourself when looking for work. And I don't mean going on there doing that elevator speech and going, oh my God, I'm wonderful. Look how great I am. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about building a relationship, building up some trust with a potential employer. So who this is for? Anyone looking for a job, anyone. I have had friends that have used this, many students. I've had clients that have used it, and it doesn't work for everyone. Of course it's not going to. And sometimes you may have to do this 5 or 6 times with different places before it finally does work. But one of the things that I found was this worked for people who are a little bit shyer. I've had students who are really shy, the people that break out all over their neck or they sweat profusely when they have to talk to someone. Well, these are ways to be able to feel a little bit better about going in somewhere and finding that job. So that's what I found that the impromptu interview actually helps. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I'll probably cut that out later. Okay. The best explanation I can give. Okay, I'm going to read it and then I'll go on with a little bit more. Have you ever been out and you're in a store, restaurant, or business that you like and you thought to yourself, I would love to work here? The impromptu interview teaches you how to seek out management, champion for yourself, make a good impression, and get the job you want. So basically, there have been situations, and back in the 80s, back when I was always looking for work when I was younger, and my friends, people of my generation, we would be out and we'd be like, hey, can I get an application? And they give you one. Well, this is kind of like doing that. This is looking for that application, but doing it on a much more impressive level, if that makes any sense. Let's just move on with this. All right, if we're going to do this impromptu interview, first thing you got to do is identification, okay? So gather the statistics of the company you want to work at. All right, so if you're like me, I love shopping at JCPenney. I just love the deals. I like how friendly they all mostly are if it's not around the holidays. But I like working there. So if I'm going to seek employment there, I need to know everything. So not just the business name, of course. But the location, and not just that location, but maybe some other locations of the same store. So J.C. Penney, the one down the street from me, but the one that's also 5 miles away. What are the phone numbers? Make sure that you have a phone number to contact them. And if you look online enough, or even if you go in and ask, they have like the 800 number, especially for the bigger places, but they actually have store numbers. Online application, do they have one? If they do, locate it. All right, get it, hold on to it, make a link for it, whatever you need to do, make sure that you can get back to that online application, because that will come in. A lot of businesses will not hire you until you do the online application, but that's okay. We can still do this. Also, see if you can identify the managers. Um, so, not just the store manager, but maybe a shift manager, a day manager. You would be amazed at how many managers actually have the power to do some hiring. Okay. So, this is just something that I have created. And if you would like the handout to this, there's some information at the end of this so you can contact me. I actually have handouts step by steps and where you can put information in. So the name and type of the company, location, phone number, website, online application. I didn't realize saying online app. There's so many apps now. But if there is, maybe that as well, because they have careers and jobs. But you should be able to find an application online. If not, you have a mom and pop organization, and this works really well on those organizations. So if there's a store or there's a business that you like that is run by individual owners, this works perfect with them. So if they have an online application, go ahead and start putting your information into it. You don't have to do it all in one sitting. A lot of times you can save it and then go back later. And I will tell you right now, they're going to make you create a login. Fine. Create that login, okay? Just make sure that you pick, a password that you can remember. You'd be amazed at how many people I know that were in the middle of an application, but it doesn't work anymore because they can't remember what their password was. So write it down, tattoo it on your forehead, whatever you need to do. Okay, next, research. So we've identified where it is I want to work. So if I want to work at JCPenney, now I need to research. So I need to, what is the business? What does the business want? And I know that you're thinking, well, this is easy, it's JCPenney. Okay, what if it's a different kind of store? What if it's a store that sells cleaning supplies? Or what if it's a business that creates dog beds or, leashes or something like that? What if you're doing an online application for, a warehouse, but you don't know what the warehouse makes? Research that company, and I promise you this is going to help you. What does the company stand for? Every company has a mission statement. It can be the about, it can say mission statement, it can say here's our goal, here's what we want, here's what we hold to be true, this is our motto. Whatever it is, find it, write it down, live it, or at least pretend to live by it, okay? If you read a mission statement from a company that says we value our customers, then the last thing you're going to do is sit there and go, oh, I'm not really good with people. Of course you're not going to say that. If they value their customers, then you're the type of person who values customers too. Okay, so look for that mission statement. And the only reason I bring that up is because I have a lot of clients that have started working for stores or, even restaurants that have a very religious undertone to them. So you don't want to go into a Bibles Plus store and go, oh, hail Satan. Yeah, I'm trying to be funny. But you want your right then and there for your values to kind of match theirs. So find their mission statement so you can kind of live up to that for the little bit amount of time that you need to work there. So what does the website tell you about them? And you can find this out just by looking at the picture. Is it high end? Does it mainly sell clothes? Is it bright? Or is it closed off? Do they have a lot of computers on it? If they do, they probably have something to do with computers. Look at the website, know the mission statement, and that will give you an idea on the kind of company that you are trying to get a job at. And, you don't want to get a job at a place or get an interview at a place that you don't know anything about. Trust me, I have been there. I actually got a job at a place that did stargazing, explaining constellations, blah, blah, blah. How I got this job is completely beyond me. I only had it for like a month before I finally had to quit because I didn't know anything. Nothing about stars or constellations or astronomy, whatever. I got it because I'm a really good interview. But if I had looked up the company before I even put an application in, I might have understood what I was getting myself into. So make sure that you do. Okay, one of the things that you need to do is you need to visit. Go to the location of the business. So if it's a store, go to the store. I know what you're thinking. Well, but what if it's an office building? So go to the office building. You can go in there. They usually have receptionists of some sort. You can ask them about the business. What is it they do? Most places are more than happy to help you. Most places are more than happy to talk to you. If you want to learn something from a business loves to talk about themselves. And you are going to love listening because that's how you're going to act. So go and visit. So let's say that this is a store somewhere in the mall. Let's say that it's a store that sells containers. I think we have those here. It's a container store. So I'm going to, that's where I want to work because I love containers, which is actually not a lie. So I'm going to go to the container store and I'm going to walk around and I'm going to look at the employees. Okay, so I'm going to skip to number 3 here. I'm going to look at the employees. How are they dressed? So in this case, I know that they wear polo shirts with the logo on it and they have like khaki or black pants. I mean, if you've gone into Target or, you've seen the khaki pants and the red shirt, that's their uniform. But look at how they're dressed, because if they're dressed to the nines and you're not, that's not the way that you want to go in there from here on out. Okay, so make sure that you're matching a little bit, and we'll get into that in a second. But also, when I say look at the employees, really look at them. Do they look miserable? Are they just walking around like they're ready for the day to end so they can just go home? If that's the case, is this really where you want to work? I mean, we're going to have to talk about this. But what are their ages? Are they all really young? Are they all really old? Is it mostly male? Is it mostly female? Are you able to strike up a conversation with them? Seriously, you don't want to work at a place where you feel uncomfortable, so talk to the employees, at least get somewhat of an idea of the place. Try to go during times when it's slow and when it's crowded, because this will give you a better idea on how the place is run. If it's slow and nobody has anything to do, are they just standing around on their phone completely ignoring everything? Or is that the time that they use to clean up? You want to know what you're getting yourself in for, okay? But when it's really crowded, you want to see if you can handle that too. See if you can identify a manager. They're usually dressed better. A lot of times they have a lanyard with maybe a yellow, tag on it or something along those lines, or maybe it just says manager. So don't ask anyone, where's your manager? Just kind of see if you can find them, okay? Make sure, and I have this here, make sure you make a note of when you visited. So what day of the week was it? What time was it? What did you see? Was it busy? Did you see a manager? If you did, describe them. You might not have gotten a name. How was the staff behaving? Remind yourself. Were they bored? Did they seem to want to work with you? Did they seem to avoid people or ignore people? What were they wearing? Okay? Things of that nature, because if you go back to this later, you may not remember everything, especially if you're scouting more than one location, okay? But try to go there at a time when it's busy and at a time when it's not. Also, on the time that it's not, I'm going to tell you right now, I would say the minimum amount of times to visit is three. Three times. That's three. Sorry, it's hard to do that with my fingers. Oh, three. So the first time you go, you want to pick a time where you think it's going to be slow. So think Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, anywhere from 9 a.m. till about 3 in the afternoon. Okay. So that's usually when you're going to have it your slowest. So that's the great time to see if you can identify that manager. Okay. It's also a great time to kind of make yourself seen. All right. And this will come in later, I promise you. But as you're walking around, as you're getting a lay of the land with there not being a lot of people in there, and by the way, don't skulk around there for like 3 hours. Look like an actual shopper. And if you can actually buy something small, it doesn't have to be big, and strike up a conversation with the cashier or with someone in the business, that will do nothing but help you, okay? But start thinking about how you would fit into this business. And I want to go back to, if you see that everyone there is young. I walked into a Spencer's with 3 women, wonderful ladies, who were over the age of 60. I was standing outside going, okay, now this kind of store is a little eclectic. They have some weird stuff. And one of the ladies was like, oh my God, my granddaughter told me about this. And she went inside and the other 2 followed. So, of course, I went in. And I'm like looking around going, oh my God, they're going to see the stuff. And if you've never been to Spencer's, you look it up. I'm not going to give it to you. Great place, though. And they were having a ball. And one of the ladies went up and went, hey, are you guys hiring? And she gave the biggest smile. And she goes, yes, here's how you get to it online. Gave her a card, wrote down the website, took her name and went, look, as soon as you get that application on there, you call me and I'm going to find it, because she was the manager. So even though everyone working in there had nose rings and purple hair, which is awesome, by the way, she saw the value in having an older worker or a more diverse worker. So if you're an older worker and you're like, oh my gosh, there's just young people in here, I promise you, most businesses are looking for you. My daughter, who runs that store at Mall of America, loves hiring the older workers. So don't think, oh, I don't have the experience, blah, 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 blah. A lot of them are just looking for someone who looks like they can fit, but also someone who looks excited. And we'll get to that in a second. So, evaluation. All right, you did some research. You visited the location. Contemplate your options now, okay? Do you really want to work there? Think about it. If your first response is no, then ask yourself if that, can you go a little bit longer without working? If you can't, if you're like in desperate need of money, you need a job now, fine. There's an old saying that I used to love. Your job when you don't have a job is to find a job. Once you get that job, your next job is to find a higher paying and better job. So if you need to start out in the mire in order to get to the meadow, get to the mire and then start trying to find that meadow, okay? But look at the employees. Do they seem overworked? So if you have a little bit of time and you don't need a job right at this moment, look at the employees. Are they overworked, out of control? Are they unhappy? You can tell. We all have the ability to read people. Can you see yourself being there? If you think you're going to stick out like a sore thumb, be honest with yourself. Is that the truth, or is that just how you perceive the truth? Okay? I would never think that I would work anywhere that had, beautiful young people, because it would be weird. Okay? But I have a lot to offer. I have a college education. I'm adorable. I'm just saying, don't sell yourself short, but think about it. And then start really thinking, what can I bring to the company? Now, this is very important. I wrote it down here. You need to be able to identify and explain how you can help the company. Okay, so if you're at retail, You can help people because you love talking to people. You're a good people reader. If it's at a business, you know what? You're a hard worker. You stay till the job is done. If it's for something else, you know what jobs are looking for? Fast learners. The top three things that employers are looking for is the ability to learn, the ability to work with others. By the way, that's a big deal. You're not allowed to just sit in a cubicle anymore. Um, but also the ability to communicate. So, talking to someone, and if you do this, if you do the impromptu interview, you'll be able to show a lot of those things just in your talking. All right, so start thinking about your skills. Part 4, how you fit in with that company. What are your skills that are going to help that company? Companies have two things that they want, okay? Number one, money. They want to make money. It doesn't matter what the business is. And take it from someone who works for not for profit. I work for not for profit, but without money, we don't have the ability to help others. So, as crass and as horrible as it may sound, a lot of times these companies don't run unless they have money. So, number one, how can you help them make money? If you're very people oriented, then you can help with customers, and customers will spend money when they are happy. Bring that up. Task oriented, I can get things done. Well, if it's a business that has projects, you will stay focused. Is it proactive? And I only bring that up because I swear to you, I am not lying. 98% of a job is showing up on time, doing what you're supposed to, but doing more when you have finished. Now, I know those are 3 simple things that a lot of people get wrong. I have 2 children in the Navy, and both of them went through boot camp, and they told me that some of the other cadets would show up late. I don't think they're called cadets in the Navy. I should ask my daughter. Anyway, but they said that they showed up late in the morning for revelry or roll call, whatever it's called. And I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing. That is one of the number one complaints that that employers have, is that people don't show up for the job. So those people that are getting, raises and bonuses and getting promotions, as much as we want to think that it's because of foul play and because of dirty dealings, well, you know what? It's probably because that person shows up, that person does what's expected of them, and that person does a little bit more. You should always be working. You should always be doing something, and I promise you they will notice. I used to tell my students who worked in fast food, I said, if you can stick it out 6 months, you'd be a manager of something. And almost every time, 6 months later, boom, I have a student who's running the Whataburger. Figure that one out. All right, so you've done it all. You researched it, you evaluated it, you decided that this is where you want to work. I know how I'm going to fit in, and now's the time. You are going to actually go for the last time to the store. Not the last time. I mean, you may shop there. Who knows? But you visited 3 times. I'm going to hope that it's 3 times. But you're going to pick that 4th time. Now, before you do this, did you fill out the online application? Because I promise you, if they have an online application, the first thing they're going to ask you is, did you fill out the online application? You want to be able to say yes, because if the answer is yes and they go, oh, what's your name? They can go right into the back and pull your application right at that moment. I've had a client who went into a Bed Bath & Beyond in Arizona, was talking to the manager, having a good time, laughing, and said, hey, are you guys hiring? The lady took her into the back room, helped her get online, filled out that application, printed it out, and interviewed her right on the spot. That's how confident I am that this works, okay? But you have to have that application done. Also, do you have a resume? I know that if you're like, but if I fill out an application, why do I need a resume? Some places need a resume. Also, it's going to set you apart. If you're looking at a store job, which I'm not going to knock retail, okay? It's a hard job, but it's one that promotes quickly. Okay, you're looking for a high growth area. I know it doesn't seem like it because of Amazon and places like that, but retail stores have some of the highest growth, especially when it comes to making more money. If you can stick it out, because as we all know, customers aren't always so nice. But if you're a great people person, this just might be your niche, okay? But having a resume is going to help you stand apart. If you're looking at a business is going to require a resume. Also, let me put it this way. If it has an office building, or if it has an office, resume, cover letter. And the cover letter is basically, I guess you could say, that elevator speech, but it needs to mostly be about how much you love that company. By the way, if you're not sure what to put on your resume, I have another video that is on Midwest CSEP. So that's Midwest SCSEP, called How to Build the Perfect Resume or something like that. There's not a lot of videos. You'll find it. But it shows you things that I have found that actually works, okay? But now, choose a time to go that's not busy, okay? Don't go during that busy time. They're not going to be able to talk to you. Seek out that manager. Hopefully this person has been there twice, because remember I told you, try to go there twice when it's not busy, only once when it is busy, okay? Because if you go at the same time when it's not busy, you may get the same manager. A lot of them have set schedules. So if that person has seen you in the store a couple times before and you weren't creepy or anything, they're probably going to be happy to see you. Are we starting to see this now? Are we starting to see the point that I'm making? Seek out the manager and try to engage in casual conversation. And a good example of this, and I wish I was doing a workshop because I actually show you how to do this. You could hold up an item, or, if you're at retail, if you're at a restaurant, you could hold something up that they create or that they sell and go, like if you're at a store, you'd be like, oh, do you have this in a size da-da-da? Or, I love this. Always lead back to how much you like their business. I am not talking about full-blown butt kissing. I'm talking about nuclear butt kissing, okay? We're not talking about you. This is why the elevator speech does not always work, because no one wants to work with a pompous person who thinks that they are all of that and a bag of chips. They want to work with people who seem to like where they're working. Every business wants people in it that like their job. Okay, that is productive. That is what they want. That may not be what they get, but if you want a job, you have to pretend, and don't pretend, you've done your research, okay? If you've gotten to this point and you still want to work there, then you should be very positive about this. But you want to get into that casual conversation about how much you like their business. And then in that conversation of them going, thank you, wow, that's really great, thank you. That's when you say, hey, are you guys hiring? Or, I think that I would love to come out of retirement and work here. Or, oh, I would love for this to be my first official job. Or, I have been looking to change careers and this might be exactly what I need. Don't ever make it seem like you're desperate and you will take any job that's out there. I have seen this happen where someone goes, why do you want to work here? And they go, I need a job. They're not going to hire you. They're going to hire that person that goes, well, I saw and read your mission statement and it said blah, 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 blah. And I agree with that, because they're going to hire the person who may not even be as qualified if you act like you like that business. I'm not kidding. When you go for this impromptu moment, dress like or a little bit better than the employees. You want to stand out a little bit, okay? If they're wearing khakis and a polo, wear a button-down shirt and slacks. Okay, and that goes for men and women. A nice blouse, maybe some small heels or even flats. I don't wear heels for anyone. So some flats, but not tennis shoes. And I know what you're thinking. Well, what if I'm going into like McDonald's? Okay, you still can dress a little bit better. That's called business casual. Okay, so you can actually have a pair of slacks, just slacks. Don't wear jeans. Never wear jeans. I don't even care what the job is. It could be for construction. Don't wear jeans. Okay, you want to dress as good as if it's a higher company. So if they're wearing suits and ties, guess what you're wearing? If they're wearing blouses and slacks, guess what you're wearing? But if they're dressed more casual, business casual with the khakis and the polos, you're going to wear the nice shirt and slacks. You don't need the coat or the tie, but you want to dress the same as or a little bit better. Be positive. Be positive about the business. Don't be weird positive. And I've seen this where people are just like, and forgive me for this, but where they're like, I love this company. I'm here all the time. Oh my God. Okay. No. Don't be creeper excited. Okay. No one is going to hire a creepy excited guy, but they are going to hire someone who's like, I love this place. I come in here, I've bought your sunglasses, or I've come in here and I've drank your shakes. They're the best shakes around. And I like coming in here because everyone just seems so happy. For an example, I've done this one where I've been like, hey, do you have these hats in purple? Oh yeah, I have some. They're right over here. And then they walk me over and I look around and I go, man, everyone here is so nice. You're like the third person that's asked me if I need any help. And I feel bad now. I didn't ask them earlier, but you've asked me. Thank you. And they're like, oh, no problem. Like, you guys just seem like, are you guys made to be happy? And they're like, no, it's just a good place to work. Really? So do you know if they're hiring? Ta-da, I'm making contact. Okay, let it flow natural. Put yourself in some situations where you are forced to talk to people if you're a little shy. Okay, so before going, all right, do you have a resume? Do you have a letter of interest? That's your cover letter, just in case, depending on where you're going. Do you have one? Do you need one? If you don't, cross that off. Do you have the proper clothing? I call it as them or times two. Are you the same as them, or are you two times better, or are you dressing two times better? Okay, did you identify the manager on duty? So before you go there, did you identify? Look at your old notes. Did you practice your elevator speech? I have this in here. I will be changing it, I promise you. Just remember, the elevator speech is not about you. The elevator speech is about the company, okay? Did you practice it? Did you think about it? Did you tell them how you would like their mission statement, or you like what they sell, or you like who they serve, or things like that? Put this over and over in your mind and go, if I were asked this question by this person, what would I say? Okay, so that's what I mean by practicing that elevator speech. Choose a non-busy time to go. Okay, now what? Let's say you did it. You went in. Okay, you did your job. You talked to them. You either filled out an application. By the way, if they give you one there, do not leave until you hand it back to them. Don't go home and fill it out. I know that you're thinking, well, I'll turn it back in. Yeah, they're going to forget about you by then. Okay? If they give you an application to fill out, go somewhere with a pen. And if you're like, but I don't have all this information, download an application online. You can download any of them usually. I would have my students do the McDonald's one, and I'd make them fill it out and then take that as a template, because a lot of the same information that you use for that McDonald's application, you're going to use for the newer applications, okay? But think about it. Were you nervous? Did the manager seem interested in you? And I mean for a job. Yeah, my stupid humor. What are the next steps? Did you get an interview? Did they tell you or act like, oh, we don't have anything, blah, 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 blah. Basically, what you're doing is taking stock in your performance. You are further evaluating whether or not you think you would fit in with that company. And no matter what, you're going to get it as a learning tool. You're going to learn from this. So like I said, you may go and do this. I've had students and I've had clients who have done this at 5 or 6 different stores or different businesses, and nothing. You know what? Let's say it does take you 40 times. One time, it's going to be a yes. You only need it one time. And do not sell yourself short, okay? You know, a lot of times you're going to have to advocate yourself for yourself without sounding like a pompous idiot. But take stock, okay? So here's a quick little handout that you can use for this. Initial thoughts on how you think it went. Did you accomplish your goal? Did you get what you wanted? Why? Yes or no? Why? What did you do well? Were you good at talking? Were you good at keeping up the conversation? What do you need to improve on? Maybe you clammed up. Maybe they were acted suddenly busy and you just went, okay, and you just left. Maybe you were too timid. Okay, maybe you went in and stole a whole bunch of merchandise and ran out. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. I promise you, they're probably not going to hire you. But what's the next steps? Did you get an interview? Is that the next steps? Is it wait and see? Did they say they'd give you a call? Call them. Think of it like dating. Okay, you have like that 3-day rule. Wait 3 days, call them, or go visit again. Remember, you have now made yourself a customer or a person of that business. Now, if it's an office building, I know the rules always are different. However, as long as you're not doing like a weird stalker person, going there and asking them, you know, like, hey, did you get a chance to see my resume or my online application? That can be done in an email, or it can be done in a phone call, or you can go in person. Or you just need to realize that maybe they just don't want anyone, or okay. But if time isn't a huge problem, like if you have a couple weeks, then this will work, okay? And it'll help you find the job that you want, because like it or not, most places will eventually be hiring. You just need to make them remember you long enough where when that opening comes, they're going to pick you. All right. So let's say you did get the interview. So they either interviewed you on the spot, which is why it's called the impromptu interview, or they called you back in for a formal one. Okay, so like I said, give it a couple days, or as long as they told you to wait. And I've had this happen where I've had an employer be like, well, we're going to make this decision by Friday. Friday came and went, no phone call. So I'm like, well, crap, did I get the job or not? Do I need to call anyone? So you know what I did is I went and found another job. I found a job, figuring I didn't get that one. And then like a week later, they called me and offered me the job. And I'm like, sorry, I didn't tell them this, but I wanted to be like, well, you said you'd call on Friday, but you didn't call on Friday. So I found a job, blah, 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 blah. You don't want to say that, but see if they can give you a definite of when they're going to call. Like I said, you can visit them, but here's what you want to do. No matter what, if you get that formal or impromptu interview, thank them. Thank them for the opportunity. You do not want to be harsh or douchey on this, okay? Thank them for the opportunity. Ask them if there is anything you can learn to become better qualified. Because if they're like, well, it went well, but I'm sorry, someone else just had more experience. Cool. What do I need to do? Don't be like, well, that sucks, I hate you all. Just be like, how can I grow and learn from this? Because you never know, that place could have an opening in the next couple days. The person they hired might not take it. You might be second in line. Don't burn that bridge. Ask them to keep you in mind if something opens up. And I'm telling you, if you made a good impression, everything seemed to go okay, because you should be able to tell. If something opens up, they're probably going to go back to that one person whose face they remember and that they liked. This works great in the job fair. Okay, now I know everyone's like, no, the elevator speech works well. No. I told you, companies love it when the people who work there seem to like them. That's it. They seem to like them, so they want to work there. Okay? That's who they want to hire. Job fair is no different. When you're walking around, you are basically talking to the people who might have the ability to interview and hire you on the spot. And if you're like, well, I don't know who's going to be, in this job fair. Okay, check online. Did they give you a list of the employers that are going to be at this job fair? If not, you got a phone. You have a phone, or bring a friend who has a phone, and you, as you walk around and you look and see what the businesses are, run over to the corner and look at a few of them. Look at a few of them online. Are they interesting? Is there something that you think you could do? Then go talk to them. And a lot of them will actually say we're doing interviews on the spot. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you do not have a job, you should be at your Workforce Connection Center somewhere in your city, or your One Stop, or your Goodwill Career Center. These are, places that do not get paid for this. But basically, you can go there and do job searching online as well. So you need to be using them because they have a lot of job fairs. Okay? They have a lot of job fairs, and they can help you get lists of places. Those of you in the Albuquerque area, I'm going to go ahead and give a quick shout out. The Sheraton Hotel on Wyoming and I want to say Manal. Yeah, okay. On, no, Louisiana Manal. On Louisiana Manal is the Sheraton Hotel. And every Tuesday from 2 to 4, they have an on-the-spot interview, like little job fair every week. So you can go in there and try to get a career every single week, and someone will talk to you right then about whatever job openings they have. You can get a lot of this information from these workforce centers. Okay, so keep an eye out for those. It's called, like the instant interviews. So some of them put them in the papers. Not that anybody gets the newspaper, but they put them online. So keep an eye out for them. So go. Good luck. Tell me how it went. Well, maybe you don't. But if you would like more information, if you want any of the handouts, or if you just want a little bit of advice or something like that, or if you would like to talk to me about possibly coming out to your location, I have taught this in a few different states. But basically, I have a curriculum with handouts that I teach in a workshop sort of way to, help either the people that you want to help. So it could be your clients, it could be your students. So it's for them. But I also have one where I train the trainer. So if you're at one of these workforce connections and you want to add this curriculum to your list of like resume skills and things like that, but you want someone to show you how, go ahead and email me. I would give you my phone number, but I'm not going to do that. apconley@nicoa.org. So that's how you can get in touch with me. Thank you all. I had a ball, and just maybe you learned a little bit. I don't know. Put up with me, that's for sure. If you're using this in the classroom, trust me, education is one of the ways to kind of pull yourself out of the muck and mire that you might have become accustomed to. So thank you guys. Again, my name is Abigail Pestalozzi Conley. It's been a pleasure. Have a great one. Bye.